Hello everyone, Earl here, and today I'll be showing you how to build your skull. So I'll be showing you how to get the right items, which items take priority over which, how to get the best skull, which skull you should go for, all that kind of stuff. So basically just tips and tricks on how to get your best run possible in Skull. This is all just a random run, whatever. So I think there is no better skull to start with than Werewolf. He is very simple in concept to understand, and he is also extremely strong. If you've seen my skull tier list, you've seen that he's top 3. Well, he's arguably even top 1, depending on how you view it. So there is no better way. So right now you need only one thing, and that is your hunt. You also get the second skull from the wolf. It only costs 10 quartz, so it's no big deal. Also, notice how I did not destroy the shield skull there, even though it should give me bone fragments. That is because I want to show you that even without that, you can always get the bone fragments, even if you don't destroy it. Just leaving the room will automatically destroy the skull and give you the bone fragments. Moving on, the first arc is relatively easy. There is not much reason to die in the first arc. Most things you can just walk forward and hold keep pressing the attack button and they will die. So the first item, Trainee's necklace. We do not need that because it is concentration. However, we still take it because it's free item. Why not? Moving on, we destroy the statue that gives us attack speed because why not? And we just do as I said, just hold forward and keep attacking. Everything will die and there's not much reason to die. Now however, we can choose between a gold room and a skull room. We will take the skull room because right now we are at 5 bone fragments and we need 10 bone fragments to upgrade the wolf to rare, which is what we want right now. So we take this one skull room and nothing more for the first time. I'll explain why later. We take this. It is gargoyle, a bad skull. You don't have to feel bad about destroying it. No, just as I said, hold forward, keep attacking. Nothing should really hit you, with very few exceptions. Because Werewolf has really good basic attack too. He staggers people a lot. Just cause it's dire mayhem and don't have to feel bad about it. Now we are at the shop. At the shop, we see Alchemist and Wraith. Wraith is a good quintessence, however it deals magical damage. Werewolf, as you can see, deals physical damage, and you can see that because the damage numbers he's dealing are orange. Whenever the damage number is orange, as you can see, physical damage is always typed in orange because the damage it deals is always orange in color. So since Alchemist deals magical damage as well, we do not need him for damage. However, since Little Bone cannot be sold for bone fragments, you can just replace Alchemist with Little Bone here, and you can sell Alchemist at the closest opportunity. So this is just free bone fragments, I guess. Now, both of these items here give me bonus magical damage, which, as I said, I do not need. However, I will need the one to increase my attack speed because it's just more DPS. Now we are at the first adventurer. The first adventurer here is the mage girl, which is not particularly hard. And something about the shop is you can reroll if you're short on money, as long as you have the ability from the witch that lets you sell the items. If you can sell the items, you can always make up for whatever god tier item you can get from the shop in the reroll. If you cannot do that though, do not do that. If you don't have the ability to sell your items from the witch, don't reroll if you're short on money. It's just a waste of money. So right now it's just the Mage Girl is a very basic. There's not much reason to get hit. She has like 2 attack patterns and that's about it. Just learn them and that's it. Now we have 3 options to choose from. We can choose the Centaurus or the Carleon sword because the 5 bone fragments is not worth it. I here will choose the Javelin, the Centaurus, because it will be good at clearing rooms later on, like in Arc 2. So, and that's much more work than the basic sword. Now we upgrade Wolf to rare. Now that we have Wolf at rare, we do not need to take any more Skul rooms, because whatever we get right now will be either common or rare with very small chance of unique or legendary. And that is not exactly reliable. So something about drops in Skul is the later the arc, the higher the rarity of whatever you get. So in Arc 1, the rarity of the items and skulls you get is common or rare, with very small chance for anything above. In Arc 2, the chance for unique and legendary increases, and so does for rare. In Arc 3 it increases even more, in Arc 4 even more than that. So right now we don't care about skulls in Arc 1 because they don't give us enough bone fragments. In Arc 2, however, we will want those bone fragments because there's a higher chance to get what we want. Now, since we did take Werewolf to rare, his Hunt, his Bite ability, now gives 100% more damage on the person that gets hit by it. So if I hit one of the big guys, which are really hard to take down, then like this, then I will be dealing more damage on them, 100% more damage, which is huge, which is why Werewolf is so good, because he works both really good as a main damage and really good as a support, which we will talk more about later on. You always destroy the shield statues, they're like so much worth. Now, we go to the Quintessence, we find Ifrit, we leave that, we don't need that. We reroll the shop because nothing here is really worth it. The rejuvenating root just gives you 40 HP if you drop below 20, which is not that great. It's kind of garbage as an item. The Festive Wheel is really good, however we're not really using that many skills. Our skill usage is very narrow, so just reroll, we get the item we want, the sword. Now we have 25% more damage. We leave because we have no more money. If I would reroll here, I would have to sell my items to do that, because as you can see they are like around 900 and I also have around 1000. I won't be spending too much time on the small stuff. These guys, they're rather easy as soon as you learn the attack pattern, which will come eventually. Rejuvenate root again, we take it, it's fine, it's free items either way, we can sell it later on. So, something about Werewolf is that his aerial attack is much faster than the ground attack, all while dealing the same damage. So the idea when using Werewolf is you want to jump if possible. If you can hit your enemy while jumping, always jump because you'll be dealing more damage. Now if I use Hunt and I use that, already almost half of the Yggdrasil gone. Something about the attack patterns of Yggdrasil, they're very clearly shown. So he lets you know what he's gonna do. A couple tries and you should know. So if I just dodge, even if I'm not like perfectly on point, I will still dodge it. just the double dodge, always good. So as you can see, the hunt bonus damage is huge. Like, I melted Yggdrasil before he could transition from one move to the other. It is insane. And we don't really have particularly good damage either. Hydra. Hydra is a good one, but I feel like right now we value more the crowd control of the crowd killing of Centaurus. So we will keep that. Now we're at Arc 2. As we said, we go for Skull rooms because there's a higher chance to get the skull we want. So the ones at the higher legendary, which will give us more bone fragments. This room is kind of annoying if you're not used to it. However, as soon as you get used to the attack patterns and everything, it's honestly just another room. Now, something about Skull is whenever people come from other roguelites to Skull, it's a bit hard to adapt because Skull does not punish you too much for getting hit. Unlike something like Dead Cells, for example. In Dead Cells, if you get hit, that's like 60% of your life. In Skull, if you get hit for like 10, maybe 8% of your life, depending on the attack, and so it's much more lenient when it comes to that. So you don't mind getting hit. If you get hit, whatever, big deal. As long as you're killing your opponent in a rather quick time, especially with bosses, you should not mind getting hit. That is just how Skull works. I will do a better job at explaining this when I'm actually fighting the bosses, but right now, let's just deal with the rules. Now, something you may have noticed is that I did not kill the plate girl below. That is because she does not count as an enemy that needs to be killed. I'll also take the Thief's Armor because that is also a really good item, and now we move on to more Skull runes. Hopefully getting Werewolf to unique by the end of the first adventure fight. As you can see, I leave the sisters again. The maids, sorry. I leave the maids there, I will not kill them. You might be asking why, but you really shouldn't because as I explained, they are not necessary opponents. So right now, even though those two are alive, as you can see, it says 0 enemies on the map. Because that right there shows how many enemies are needed for you to kill to go to the next room. In that case it's 0, because they do not count. This is one of the most annoying rooms in the entire Arc 2. It's just the plate girls, the maids, the big maids in general, it's just an entire clusterfuck. But as I said, we don't mind getting hit. We leave the maid, we don't care. So, moving on, as we said, the aerial attack is really good. So the mage girl stands always above, so now we just attack like a weapon. That's it. That's the entire gameplay. You see, she evaporates because Hunt deals that much more damage. 100% is huge. So, the ninja is the hardest adventurer on her own because she has very little downtime. However, I don't think I can give much insight on how to beat her besides just fight her a lot and get used to her attack patterns. But most of her attacks can be dodged by just simply jumping. That's it. Nothing else. Moving on, we have Medusa. Medusa deals magic damage and stuns. However, we cannot stun bosses, so that is not that great. So we just take the bone fragments and upgrade Wolf to unique. At unique, we will have 2 abilities instead of 1. And we got Rip Apart. Rip Apart is a decent ability. We honestly do not care what ability we get as long as we have Hunt. And I will explain why later. As you can see, I'm jumping to deal more damage to the big guy. We always take the Harpy Lady because it's 25 free bone fragments. It's just great. And now we run into Predator, another top 3 Skul. This is just pure luck, but we ran into him, so we obviously take him. He has much more use than Mummy right now, so we just spam his abilities. He has the special trade-off, his abilities can be spammed up to 5 times, and we just abuse that because why not? We just kill the big guys, move on to the rooms. Now, you can always kill the big dude there, the big summoner Genkidama dude guy first, and then deal with this. But I don't care either way, so like I'm just doing the whatever way just I feel like it. So you always take this guy. It is free items, and in some cases the item can be good, like the sword right there. We got 25% free. Physical damage, we take that. We won't be swapping a lot, so that item is kinda garbage, we don't need that. However, what we do need is the gold incense burner. The gold incense burner is a really good item because it helps with our economy. And we can sell the trainee's necklace, we do not need that. We can reroll because we can sell another item to get, like, if we happen to run into a really good item like Mana Eater. Mana Eater is extremely strong. You will see why real. As you can see, that guy died instantly. So did that guy, because Mana Eater gives us bonus damage on the next attack after using skill. And that bonus damage is hefty. Let me show you. So let me just kill everyone first, so that I can show. Okay. He died instantly. That's it. So if I do that, he takes some damage. If I hit him with Mana Eater, he's dead. Mana Eater is just a really strong item. Minotaurus. Minotaurus, he's a power skull. We already have a better power skull. Don't need him. Moving on. We have this room, which with these traps it's really annoying, but once you get the muscle memory down, it's not really a hard room. I won't be going over like skill based things like, oh, dodge this or do that, because you'll get the hang of it eventually. I'll just give you like the tips to build mostly. So the sisters. The tip to the sister is don't panic. You see, just simple jumps, dodge their attacks. If they come from above, a simple sidestep. That's it. They don't really hit you if you just keep calm, look at where they're coming from, and do little maneuvers. Now, as you can see, that was disgusting. Why? I only have 25% damage bonus, so 55% physical damage. I'm sorry, 50% physical damage. But how come I dealt so much damage? Well, sometimes it's not what resources you have that matter, it's how you use them that matters. In this case, Hunt gives us a lot of bonus damage, and Predator deals a lot of damage. So combine those two together and you just get a boss killing machine. So if I just do the same thing, that's it, the sister's gone. There is so much that Hunt allows you to do, it is crazy. So if you want to get your first win, Hunt Werewolf is probably the strongest common skull. He's extremely good. So now we have a swap item. We won't really be swapping a lot, so we just leave that, we don't need it. If you have the sell ability, it will automatically sell, like you saw. If you don't, it won't. So we just move on. Again, here we have an even higher chance of getting the higher rarity skull. So obviously take the skull boots. We need those. We take the health because the health is good. We deal some item. We deal some skills just to get the mana eater going and evaporate people. And just moan through rooms in general. Now, Rockstar. Rockstar is an extremely strong speed skull if you've seen. However, he deals magical damage, and as we said, we deal physical damage. We do not care about magical damage. Everything else, we just yeet it. We don't need any of that. Okay, so these guys are extremely hard to put down. They have a lot of health, and the big guy is really annoying. Understandable. A lot of people hate him. However, how do you deal with this big guy? Well, the best way to deal with this guy is just to leave, because he does not count as one of the enemies that you need to kill to leave. So, what do? Just walk into the next room. Moving on, same thing as always, just keep on walking, attacking, that's it. Most of these guys are, again, really basic in terms of attack patterns, so we see the summoner guys, we leave them, don't care. We just take care of this. The big guy is summoned, we don't care about the big guy, we just head towards the door and leave. Okay, so this item is just free 35 HP and a bit more because it gives us the ability to freeze anyone who hits us. Oh boy. Okay, so here we come into the big boy stuff. Gunpowder sword is a god tier item. On Werewolf, it is one of the best items. 3. You always take gunpowder sword, especially on a werewolf run. The only time you don't take gunpowder sword is if you're on a magic run, because it deals physical damage and we don't need that. However, as you might have seen, it just causes an explosion, but we don't have very much attack speed, right? Critical rate. So how come we got it? Like it doesn't really seem that good. Well, the thing is, Werewolf's passive gives us critical rate based on the distance move, which is showcased by the bar, the gray bar below my health. So if I just keep dodging and moving a bit, it will increase my critical rate. So if I get it up to max, right now 1 in 3 hits will crit, and I can do things like this, which needless to say is just really strong. They will melt not only rooms, they will melt bosses, they will do whatever they want. They will do your taxes, they will just like go to school, complete like university tests, get the diploma, you know, go to work, feed the kids, do everything. Again, alchemist, magic, we don't need it. Just care about this gunpowder sword that deals disgusting amounts of damage. And yeah. Okay, so another tip here is that the guys that spawn from the tubes are also things that you don't need to kill to get away. So that guy, I destroyed tube and he was summoned. I can just leave because he does not count towards the people I need to kill. The mage girl, she's always flying, and as we said, our light attack is really good, so no more mage girl. That's it, she's dead. That's how good gunpowder sword is. Now we just use the good old predator shriek, but as you saw, it was not that impressive. It dealt a lot of damage, but still, the gunpowder sword now makes it so that werewolf deals more damage than predator. That's how good of an item it is. We don't need to swap anymore. We just increase our critical, we do that, she goes down, we leave. So now we can get any of these. However, the Imp Trio deals magical damage, the Mana Bone deals magical damage, and we need a bit more fragments to get the werewolf, so we obviously just destroy the Berserker to get the werewolf, legendary werewolf. Well, there's not much damage, not much change into legendary werewolf. The biggest one is that now our hunt, instead of 100% damage, deals 150% more damage. So everything we deals 150% more damage when we use hunt. So this means that bosses die even quicker. Simple as that. It's an efficient way of doing things. We just kill everyone because nobody here has a chance. And now a tip about this room: always go downstairs if you don't want to deal with more enemies, because if you jump down, then that will spawn more enemies. 4 more enemies to be exact, and if you don't want to deal with them, please go down the stairs to negate the spawn. There's not much I can explain right now because it's just gunpowder being gunpowder. This item is very good because no matter what buff it gives us, it helps us a lot. It decreases the incoming damage by 50%, which is really good. It increases our attack speed, which again is really good. Or it increases our damage, which again is really good. Now, we have the option of ditching Predator. Now, as we saw, Predator just is losing damage now compared to Gunpowder Sword. So, what we do is we ditch Predator and take Samurai, because Samurai is Speed Skull. And the bone items, which are like the Mana Bone, so are specific items that get stronger the more skulls of the same type you have. Example, the Bone of Courage gives you bonus damage based on how many power skulls you have. So we always want to keep 2 speed skulls in this case. We get that item, it's really good. Now we have some spare gold coins, and the next shop is in some time, so we can take the health. It's fine. Just the thing about the health is don't always take it because it will reduce your economy dramatically. You can skip this room entirely, but since I was just holding forward like an idiot, I couldn't do that, so yeah, we don't talk about that, we just move on. Since we have a really strong build right now, so we don't mind a bit more rooms. It's honestly just no big deal. Fire Spirit Salamander deals magical damage. We don't care about that, we leave it. Take the gold rooms. Now, the priority switches from skull rooms to gold rooms or item rooms. And item rooms take priority over gold rooms because you will, now as you have seen, the items are pretty expensive. So you will need several gold rooms to make up for one item. If you want to buy one item, a single item. So definitely go for items, and if you have no other options, go for gold. This room is also kind of annoying. It takes too much time in my opinion. I dislike that. See, the big guy now has no life because Gunpowder Sword is a really good item. It just evaporates like that. Okay, so now moving on to the next one. Always destroying the shield statues. Having enemies with full armor, with super armor is really annoying. Now, we run into the Chimera, the third boss, and the Chimera is one of the easiest to melt bosses, and as you will see, Gunpowder and Werewolf are a really good combo. As you can see, the life bar just gets deleted. If I had better items, this would have been 10 times faster. And my records are usually killing the Chimera in around 2 seconds, maybe 3 tops. So depending on how good your run is, you can do some really gross things. Okay, here we go. The bonus swiftness. Every time we deal a critical hit, it deals bonus damage. And the bonus damage gets higher the more speed skulls we have, which is a really good one. And we got rid of the wind armor because everything else was just much more valuable. Now we have a really good combination of, we have a skull that increases our critical, and we have 2 items that deal a lot of damage once we do that critical. So we have synergy going on. See, now we gotta think about more specific builds, right? Now we gotta think more about, okay, how do we make this even stronger? Or how do we increase the synergy even more? And this is really just dependent on luck at this point. You can get the best items, you can get the worst items, but usually almost any average item is worth it. So moving on through Act 4, it takes some time, but okay, so that is the bonus swift, sorry. That extra damage you saw when I dealt the critical damage. You could actually skip this spawn room here if you have 3 jumps, which is only ninja, or if you have the item that gives you 3 jumps, the wings. As you can see, 1 hit and that thing was a rinse. That's just how good Mana Eater with everything else is. And you can also push people off the ledge here because, you know, why not? You can, so. I really dislike that item. If you like that item, keep it. I don't really plan on doing anything that will keep me close to the enemies. Okay, so Metal Box. Metal Box is a really good item, however, it depends on how many adventures I defeat. So, the 3rd adventure fight has 3 adventures, which means I get 3 procs of the Metal Box, so 15% each, that is 45. However, since the only adventurer left is the 4th adventure, which is a single adventurer fight, we don't get much use of it, so it's a really good item, but it came out a bit late. Now this room, you just gotta destroy the enemies and the platform as well. You just dash through anything. Okay, so something to show is that Rip Apart resets the cooldown of the skill whenever someone dies. So because of that, and because it deals a lot of hits and procs a lot of gunpowder, we can do things like this. We can just spam the ability and things will just die. Because we can spam this ability infinitely, because it will always be on a cooldown as long as it kills at least 1 enemy. And because of gunpowder, it will always kill at least 1 enemy. Honestly, always keep this room. This room is extremely hard. You don't want to deal with this, and besides, why even bother, honestly? But since I just want to show this room either way, for anyone who hasn't seen it, I'll just deal with this room, but all of you don't. Honestly, not worth it. Unless the item here is some god tier item, just skip this room entirely. It's a special room, you're not supposed to. And for some reason my hunt didn't want to proc there, because, you know, I don't need this item, I want the Goldie's runner, so we just move on. Now, the 4th adventure. This fourth adventure can be really hard. It's common for people to fail at beating this adventurer. You like need a couple tries, but a lot of this is just getting used to their attack patterns. However, as you can see, I deal a lot of damage. I don't mind about getting hit, it's sad. So, thing is, I wasted way too much life on the special room that I said you should never go to, so yeah, it's rough. Like, I messed up, so if I die, it's fine. I have a revive, but even if you don't have a revive, you should just never go for that room. There, I died. I could have not died, but it would have taken way too long and like not worth it. So, I could get the Wisp, the Hunter, or the Explosive Arrow. I don't need any of these, so right now I can just sell the Explosive Arrow because I need the gold. There's never a time when you don't need the gold, so just sell that. I am full of bone fragments. I already have my legendary werewolf, so I don't need any of that. We always take the healing lady because we never say no to healing. She can give you a random healing bonus, so it will be 50%, 15%, 25%, 50%, or 100%, which is really good. She's a really good NPC. Can get you out of some real tough situations. As you can see, Gunpowder Sword didn't work. Moving on to the next shop, we got a god run. Look at this. So, as we said, we have a lot of critical synergy. So, Thieves Black Steel Dagger. Each attack increases critical rate by 2% for 20 seconds. For 3 seconds, sorry. And this effect can be stacked up to 20 times. What this means is that at max, we will have a bonus 40% crit rate. So, more gunpowder procs and more bone of swiftness procs. And since the thief armor damage is kind of dropping, we can drop it. We can leave that. Hunter's Wooden Longbow increases critical damage by 50%. Again, more critical synergy. We get rid of this because it's a really random buff. We don't want to deal with any of that. Now, we go to the Quintessence. The Troll. When you use the Quintessence, all your attacks beyond critical hit for 5 seconds. Again, more critical synergy. This is the kind of stuff that you really want to go for. Here you could also take the healing if you want, because we have free gold, but I'm almost full either way, so like, why would I need that, honestly? So as you can see, I'm proccing the gunpowder. I'm dealing critical hits pretty often, even though I have almost none of my buff, all because of the Thieves Dagger. And now the troll makes it so that everything deals critical, which is honestly amazing. And if you kill that guy before he summons the dudes, they don't get summoned. I guess that was a pretty easy deal. Okay, so here we have the slime. The slime is a really good guy. The slime right now is arguably the best NPC. So, what do we do about the slime? We want more critical synergy. Like, that's our main source of damage right now. So, double gunpowder sword, from what I've tried, does not work. At least it did not work for me. I've seen some people that it works for them. I don't know. Maybe I just have some random bug. I don't want to do that again. However, since this is an item room, and I want to get the second Black Thief's Black Steel Dagger, I can do this. It's a neat trick, but now Thief's Dagger is my last item. And as we know, most of the time, the slime will duplicate your last item. I say most of the time because there's the chance that it doesn't, and it duplicates your pre-last item, and there it is, the solar sword. Sometimes you just don't get lucky, but most of the time, like 95% of the time, it will duplicate your last item. So always go for it. The chance is way too slim. We just leave the sword. Honestly, just I guess free money, whatever. It feels bad though. It actually feels bad. It hurts. It hurts the fact that the one time you need it, it lets you down. Honestly, as we said, we don't mind if we get hit, because everything else is dying. It's evaporating. There's no more life bars. Anyway, now we get into the fourth boss, the Joan. Joan is one of the bosses that can melt you in the least amount of time. He can deal a lot of damage. She can deal a lot of damage. However, she can get bursted just as easily. So right now, I won't show you how to beat the Joan by dodging her as always. I'll show you how to beat the Joan without caring whether you get hit or not. No matter what happens, the Joan will go down quicker than you. So you just use hunt on these, you keep attacking, they will die. The first phase is gone. Now we go on to the second phase. We have the quintessence, so we always use the quintessence right now because we want to kill as soon as possible. We use the quintessence, we use hunt, and now we just deal some damage. And now my game lags, obviously. Okay, so this attack is really bad. It can deal a lot of damage, so you always dodge it. Like, we don't mind getting hit by some attacks, but like when it could cost us like 50 damage, we don't do that. Now we just hide a bit. Again, that attack can also do a lot of damage, but the general idea is the Joan is dead. And our build is not exactly optimal. It could be a ton better. Hero's Holy Sword. Hero's Holy Sword is a really good item, but there is some execution to it. And I will be taking it because, well, it's a good item, but I won't be using it to its fullest extent because I don't want to turn this into a chaotic run. So I just dropped the basic sword because why not, I guess. And whenever we dash, we get 100% bonus damage. However, we won't be dashing a lot because it'll be hard for anyone to keep up, and this is a guide. This is not just a random run. We just move on. Now we go into the last shop. The last shop is really expensive. You reroll once. The first reroll costs 1.5k. The second reroll costs 3k. So a lot. And you never do the second reroll. I just showed you just to show what happens when you do the second reroll. And the thing is, you're always out of money. Never ever do it. So, the Arc 5 enemies are really easy. You're not really supposed to lose life, you're not really supposed to get hit here. These guys are just here to, well, I guess be there. They don't really do much else. But yeah, here we go. Now we go into the last fight, the hero. And again, similar to all the other fights, the idea here is we want to kill him before he kills us. We don't care if we get hit. We have a lot of health. 122 health, we can get hit about 7, 8 times, depending on the kind of hit. So, oh, he does 14. Whatever. I still have 100 more, 99 more. We don't care if we get hit. A lot of damage going on. Look at this. I only lost about like 50 health. Sorry, 40 health, and the first hero is almost dead. Like the first phase is almost done. There we go. Okay, so first phase gone. Now the second phase. In the second phase, the idea is you hit him as much time as you can while he's still summoning the sword, because he's very vulnerable, and yeah, the more damage you deal, the better. I dealt almost half, that is good. Now, no matter what kind of attack he does, just dodge behind him. You don't really need to care, don't need to see or react or do anything. If you see him, grab a sword, dodge behind him. And you really won't get hit by anything. And when you have the time, don't worry too much if you cannot do that, like just find the gaps and like keep attacking. Just take your time, because the second phase has a lot of downtime to it. Like there's the first downtime, as I said, with where he summons a sword. There's one where he gets like the heart attack and he like falls on the ground and you can hit him for free. There's a lot of things. Now the third phase. The third phase is also, it's kind of a beatdown phase. Like you're not really supposed to be hit here. It's very, very easy. So you're not really supposed to die here. It's common to get hit. But yeah, so this is the run. This is how you build a run. Again, a short summary. We just first we choose what we want to go for. Do we want to go for physical or do we want to go for magical? Usually this depends on the kind of skull that we get. This depends on the kind of skull that we get. What this means is that if I want to go for werewolf, I always go for a physical. If I want to go for archlich, for example, or alchemist, or frost, or I don't know, dark paladin, you go for magic. So you just choose the skull you want, then decide what you want to go for. Once you get this the damage down, you start to build a synergy, the critical, the gunpowder, the mana eater, things like that. Things that you think will be good. And there's always the question of, oh Earl, well, how do I know what items are good and what aren't? Like what if I think mana eater is garbage, like without trying it? The thing is, you always try the items. There are some items like the forbidden sword that you don't even know what it does until you try it. But it happens to be a god tier item. So when you don't know whether an item is good or not, you always either ask somebody who's more experienced at the game or just test the item yourself. I'd say the second is always better because you gain more experience using the item and the game. So again, this is just the general build. As you see, we have critical, we have the synergy, we have the damage, and we have the economy. We have the gold instance burner, which we could have sold some time ago, but just for the sake of the health, I kept it either way. If you're not sure that you can do this without getting hit much, then just keep the health. Well, this is mostly it for the video. I hope you enjoyed. I don't think I'll be doing any more guides of this kind, like, oh, how do we build magical, because as long as you get the idea, it should be fine. Just always stick to your main. Don't spread too much. Don't have magical items and physical items at the same time, because it will just end up being a mediocre build, because both will be very meh. They won't deal as much damage, they won't be as good, so just stick to one. Always stick to one of the builds. Well, I hope you enjoyed. If you did, if you like my other content, subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. See ya!